Hello students, welcome to Law Excellence YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to discuss about Hindu newspaper analysis of 26 June 2020. So as usually, before we are going into the detailed analysis, first we are going to discuss about the personality of the day. In this personality of the day, we are going to discuss about Ajit Kumar Doval. Ajit Kumar Doval is National Security Advisor as well. He was the fifth person who is discharging the role as National Security Advisor to the Prime Minister of India. And he is a retired IPS officer of the Kerala cadre, and he was a former Indian intelligence and law enforcement officer. So these are some of the offices held by Ajit Doval IPS. He was born in Uttarakhand in 1945, and he was one of the youngest police officer in India to be awarded with. So which award, friends? Kirti Chakra Awards for his meritorious service. It is a gallantry award, generally will be given to the military personnel, the Kirti Chakra Awards. And in September 2016, he played very important role regarding the surgical strikes, and February 2019 regarding the Balakot air strikes across the Pakistan border. They were conducted under the supervision of Mr. Ajit Kumar Doval. He also helped to end the Doklam standoff. Friends, the Doklam standoff was happened between India and China in Doklam. Doklam is a place in Bhutan. It is a plateau region. So these were his significant efforts regarding the Indian security point of view. Now, without any further delay, first we are going to discuss about the editorial program, students. Here first we are going to discuss about why China is being aggressive along the LAC. So what kind of factors are contributing to the aggressiveness of China? In this, we are going to discuss about certain dimensions called salami slice strategy, which is behind the aggressive posture of China. And the learning objectives are to know about the salami slice strategy and to know about the shifting China strategy over the period of time. Now, when we look at the context, students, first we'll try to understand the context. Recent clashes in Galwan Valley in eastern Ladakh, it is first kind of incident in past 45 years where we observe the death fatalities. China has revived its claim on the entire Galwan Valley, and it has asked India to pull back from the Galwan Valley areas. So this kind of aggression shown by China. The current situation is, so we are discussing about the second one. The current situation is, so information from the satellite images, it is suggesting that China has set up the defense position across the valley as well as the disputed fingers of the Pangyong So Lake. We have discussed in the previous videos where Pangyong So Lake, through which this LAC will pass through, as well as despite the multiple round of military level talks, still tensions are there at the ground situation. So this has led to question what are the real motives behind China's aggression. Now, so we will question ourselves whether India acted aggressively. Because of India's action, does really China acted aggressively? We will introspect our point of view. First, we will look at the Doklam standoff. In 2017, both India and China agreed very peacefully to resolve the Doklam standoff, which was lasted for more than 2 months. So no blood was, no bloodshed. That means no one been killed. So we peacefully sorted out. Then India did not upset the China's domestic and geopolitical sensitive. So India occasionally acted against the China, even though we were maintained very closeness with the USA and its allies in Pacific region. Still we committed to a policy that we maintain good relation with China. Next, India has stayed away from criticizing China on even controversial issues like Hong Kong protest as well as dispute with the Taiwan. So then what led to this kind of the aggression from China? Very small thing like superficial local factors such as building India's infrastructure across the border. So these kind of very small factors, so we can't say these are the aggression main reasons behind the China. So we'll look into what are the main reasons. But one thing we can say that after this China action in the Galwan Valley, So there is an argument that Chinese action will push India very deep into the anti-China camp, which belonged to the USA. So far, India did not provoke China. The reason for Chinese aggressions are different. We will discuss about what are the strategic reasons behind the Chinese action. First, students, there are multiple number of reasons. First one is basically Chinese foreign policy. It shifted after this post-COVID-19. So, what is this shift? Basically, rising tensions with USA. So China is so much aggressive with USA, as well as with respect to Taiwan, with respect to Hong Kong, and even with respect to the naval incident in the South China Sea. So this post COVID-19, China not only reacting very aggressively with India, it is reacting very aggressively with other neighborhood countries as well. And China is in ambitious, especially with relevant to rising power. It wants to reorient the global order. That means, so it wants to reorient the global order in such a way that so USA and China, it is going to be the bipolar world. China is moving in the direction. So previously China used to expand its influence in the name of development. Now China is, that policy is not at all following. China is completely removed that development mask. It is openly saying about its aggressive policies. After this COVID-19, this global order has been broken. In which way we can say? We can say that, for example, entire Europe, it was devastated by this virus attack. Even US completely busy in the presidential election, and the unemployment rate highest in USA. In this kind of context, by taking advantage of this kind of global situation, China is adapting the salami slice strategy. What is the meaning of salami slice strategy? So, like in previous videos I told you, China is following the five-finger policy. Five-finger policy. In that, so five-finger policy, palm. The palm is Tibet, and remaining five fingers are, one is Ladakh, the other one is Nepal, the other one is so Bhutan and Arunachal Pradesh. So these are the five pillars, okay, five fingers. First one is Ladakh, second one is Nepal, and third one is Sikkim, Bhutan, northeast frontier, that is Arunachal Pradesh. So now China would like to expand its influence in these five fingers one by one. So this is about the salami slice strategy, where a dominant country attempt to establish its power piece by piece. India is one piece in this China strategy. In this context, at the present, what are the problems facing by India? Let us look into this Indian side. The Indian economy was in trouble even before the COVID-19, and after this COVID-19, we are in terrible problems, especially on economy front. In the same way, even there is a social, protests are going on before COVID-19, especially regarding anti-CAA and protest against, NRC and all these things. And this is the time where we are seeing our relationship with our neighborhood countries. They are becoming under stress, especially with Nepal and Sri Lanka and Bangladesh as well. Recently, Bhutan as well shown certain kind of, unfriendly nature to India. And with regarding the Balakot airstrikes, even though it seemed successful, we lost a jet as well as our pilot being captured and later released by Pakistan. The whole operation exposed certain kind of weakness in our operations. So when we consider all these kind of Indian problems, so we can say that it is showing a decline in the country's smart power. So China is taking advantage, and China is moving very aggressive across the LAC. What is the way forward? What is the solution? Our national security strategy, it should be concentrated on winning our neighborhood nations. That means friendly relationship with our neighborhood countries. As well as we should give a fitting reply to China. China tried to impose 1962 memory on our Indian soldiers. By that way, they would like to show the psychological effect on Indian armed forces. So we should resist that, and we should stand against China as a as a strong nation. These are the two-way policy we should follow now. The second article is regarding the senseless death. This is related to the police custodial death. which is happened in Tamil Nadu. So let us look it into the context. So the context is, students, recently father and son both were arrested. We will see what is the reason for arrest. Because they run a mobile phone service, a mobile shop, and so this mobile shop opened even after the lockdown timing. That is the main reason. The police claim that these two people were arrested in unbailable, okay, non-bailable warrant. These were arrested first. So if anyone do any like commercial activities after the lockdown period, they can be arrested, of course, but they should not be arrested under non-bailable warrant. The first mistake is they were arrested on non-bailable warrant, and after they've been arrested in the police custody, they were died. So in response to this, the Madras High Court Madurai bench, they took this as a suo motu case and decided to monitor the progress of the inquiry. And the court asked for a report from the police, and it directed the police to conduct the autopsy. That means post-mortem, and it should be videographed. That was the court orders. Chief Minister has announced a compensation of 10 lakhs for each, and the two sub-inspectors were suspended. That is a different story, but we cannot bring their lives back. Okay, now what kind of steps should be taken? So what kind of steps a common man is expecting? So mere suspension of the police officer who are involved in this wrongful act, it is not enough. The police should register a case of murder, and the matter takeover, it should be given to an independent agency for fair and transparent investigation. Because the crime done by the police officers, if the investigation done by the police officers, obviously there will be a conflict of interest. The custodial deaths are often the result of the misuse of the police power, and it is not very uncommon in Indian setup. So where is the problem? The problem is completely lie very deeper. We should not look at this problem only related to this incident. The problem is especially related to lack of professionalism in investigative methods. This may indicate a different setup of mind in police officials, that they are they are in a mood of inflicting violence and harm against the weak people. Even we are seeing this kind of attitude in case of fake encounters as well. Now, in this case, the father was completely beaten even before they were taken into the police station. That means the police did not use proper investigative methods. And their offenses, whatever the offense they commit, they should be arrested under the section 188 of Indian Penal Code. Rather than that, they were booked under section 383 and section 506. So they are completely gross in nature. Police should have not used those sections. The conclusion is the inclusion of the non-bailable section in arrest, it is indicating that the nature of the police, they will try to harass and torture these way beyond their crime. And the top police officials too, they should responsible for this atrocity, as it indicates a failure in the police mechanism. Even the Tamil Nadu custodial deaths, they are indicating a failure regarding the guidelines how to handle the lockdown violation. So these are the conclusions, friends, and people should behave more, police should behave more in a people-friendly nature. Next one. This one is regarding, can online learning replace the school classroom? This is related to polity and governance. Students, in this article we are going to discuss about what are the pros and cons of the online education. Why we are discussing about the online education now? Because due to this COVID-19, the offline education was severely impacted. In this scenario, we are discussing about online education and pros and cons. The context is COVID-19 outbreak disrupted the academic year. As a solution, most of the schools they moved on to online classes. However, Maharashtra has banned online classes from pre-primary to class 2. That means LKG, UKG and class 1, class 2, there should be no online classes. Even Karnataka and Madhya Pradesh, they extended the online ban up to class 5. So these kind of initiatives by different state governments, these sparked a debate on whether the increased screen time, that means increased time in looking at laptop and mobile, whether it is helping to students or whether it is disrupting the students' progress. We will see. First, we are going to check about some limitations of the online learning. So, limitations, students. First, looking at the screen, even even software professionals also, after sitting hours and hours before computer screen, they'll experience a kind of stressed out feeling. Then forget about the kids, what kind of stress they are going to experience. Looking at the screen for a long time, obviously it is going to be harmful for their health aspects, and even it strain their eyes as well. Online learning from home, it can also feels very isolated and lonely for the child. The next factor is teachers' role becoming very limited, and parents are very busy in their works, especially when the fathers as well, they are working from home. In this kind of situation, the teacher's supervision will be very limited. And the people who are attending the government schools, they may not have access to online facilities as well. This may exclude them from education, and it may divide the children into digital divides. It may cause the digital divide among the children. So this is one of the these are some of the limitations. So what is the necessity of the online education, even though there are some challenges? The first one is, so in this COVID-19 pandemic, it spread very fastly and it is very difficult to conduct the physical distancing and mask wearing in school. So the only solution is online education. And one more thing is, so from countries like Britain, which follows every day in early childhood, every school day in early childhood. So we cannot miss a single day, especially in the early childhood. So online classes provide such a momentum, continuation to offline classes. Even before the pandemic, most of the children, they were habituated to looking at the mobiles and laptop. Moreover, most of the schools are not depending on only on screens. Even in this pandemic condition, they are focusing on some other activities like yoga, painting, and some other activities as well. So, what is the way forward? The way forward is there should be two strategies should be followed. First one is reducing the impact of online education. So, when online education is mandatory, the only option we have is we have to reduce its impact. Second one is making safe early opening of schools. So, we have to open school in a safe manner as early as possible. Okay, how can we reduce the impact? We can design lessons in such a way that child would spend less time on before screen. There are certain guidelines issued by Karnataka High Court and with respect to this point. So the conclusion is, also there are certain limitations in online education. For time being, there is no better alternative than online education. So measures should be taken for effective reach of online education. Like I told you, there are two kind of strategies we can get. One is reducing the impact of online education. The second one is making schools open as early as possible in very safe manner. So the third one is regarding the drugs problem, drug abuse in this COVID-19 crisis time. So what are the challenges? So with relevant to drug abuse. So in this COVID-19 time, drug abuse has been increased. That is the main context. We will see our lesson plan. First, we'll look at the context. In Punjab, there has been around students 23% increase. 23% increase in the drug addicts since the COVID-19 outbreak. Students, around 269 people they used drugs in 2018. 269 million, that means around 26.9 crores. So it is 30% higher than the 2009. In most of these drug addicts, it includes young people as well as adolescents. Actually, these are the main people in workforce. If these people are keep on using the drugs, it is going to be affect the economy of that country. And the money which are dedicating for this controlling of drugs, it reduced by 90%. That means the funding for the drug control, it reduced by 90%. It is very bad news. Why India is very vulnerable to the drugs? So we are vulnerable because of two reasons, friends. India is sandwiched between golden crescent and golden triangle. So golden crescent, okay, so it comprises of Afghanistan, Iran and Pakistan. Whereas golden triangle, it comprises of Thailand, Myanmar, Laos and Vietnam. Students, in this golden crescent where the opium cultivation is very high. Opium cultivation is very high. Okay, and at the golden triangle as well, the production of this opium and narcotics very high, and the consumption is also very high. Because India is sandwiched in between golden crescent and golden triangle, so we are experiencing high vulnerability towards these narcotics. What are the consequences of pandemic on drug use? That means, what is the effect of COVID-19 on drugs usage? First one is increased substance abuse. The economic downturn, it is causing the economic downturn, that means lockdown kind of situation. It is impacted stress on people and their drug abuse increased. Second one, anti-social activities. Many people who are vulnerable to involvement in drug trafficking and related crimes, they are becoming vulnerable because their incomes been damaged due to this lockdown as well. And the lack of attention by government, because now governments are much concentrating on COVID-19, and the rehabilitation houses, they are not focusing as well. That is one of the reasons as well. Next, prevents shift by farmers. The farmers who are cultivating opium, cocoa, whatever the government promised to them, the alternative, like mechanism, alternative crops assistance, it is not being provided. And increased transnational drug trafficking. National governments, they are keeping much efforts, like in this COVID-19, and because of that, we are unable to control the transnational drug trafficking in this COVID-19 time. All these actions, that means increased substance use due to stress mental level. Second one is anti-social activities due to reduction of revenues, inattention by governments, and prevents shift by farmers. We are unable to provide alternative income to farmers, and increased transnational drug trafficking. What is our way ahead? So, looking forward in future, greater investment should be so made in rehabilitation centers, as well as international cooperation should be required to control access in this, like drugs of abuse in nature. And government should draft policies in such a manner that they should be health centered, rights based, as well as gender responsive approaches should be taken by governments. By following all these approaches, we can reduce the drugs abuse in nation. By that way, we can save our youth from this problem. Next, targeted news analysis. Students Union, they seek recall of environment impact assessment draft. First, you have to understand, students, if government is taking up any project, it will assess what is the impact of that project on environment. That assessment is known as environment impact assessment, environment impact assessment, EIA. Now the context, most of the student unions from different universities, they given petition to Union Environment Minister regarding the proposed environment impact assessment notification 2020. They given petition that this notification should be kept in hold. Why? What is the major objection by the student union? So the first thing you have to understand is this 2020 notification is about to replace the 2006 notification. It is proposing certain changes, so which are not acceptable to most of the environmentalists as well as student unions. Let's see what are the points of dispute. First one is, the key points of dispute with the proposed legislation are that it shortened the period of public consultation hearing to a maximum of 40 days. That means, so before starting a project, so the consulting public, that reduced to only 40 days, as well as it reduced the time from 30 days to 20 days to give response. Okay, so related to that project. That means previously, to give response from public point of view, that used to be 30 days. Now the time reduced to 20 days. Some, because of that project, because of one project, people whoever affect, they may not know. So information reach, it will take some time. Reducing this, shortening this time means people may not know within the 20 days, or people may not to deliver their objection within the 20 days. So all these are towards what? Towards violating the environmental norms. Okay. Crucially, this draft also institutionalizes the violation project. That means whichever the project violated the environment laws, they will be regularized as well. Under a provision issued in 2007, so it allows projects that have come up which violated the environmental norms, they will be reviewed by a committee of experts, and if any projects previously violated the environment norms, now they can pay certain amount of the fine now, and they can carry on their activities. Okay, so because of this, first one is shortening of the time to 40 days, shortening of the reply time from 30 days to 20 days, and previously whichever the projects violated the norms, now they can continue. So due to all these things, people are raising their voices against this environment impact assessment. What is this environment impact assessment? I told you, students, already. Next one is regarding FATF, Financial Action Task Force. Okay, it is related to GS3 and GS2. The Financial Action Task Force, in its first global report on the illegal wildlife trade, so they released one report. The name of the report is Money Laundering and the Illegal Wildlife Trade. Money laundering and the illegal wildlife trade. That is a report, students. That is a report released by FATF. This report is describing that it is a global threat. Which is the global threat? This money laundering is becoming a global threat. It is also linked with this drug trafficking as well as illegal wild trade. So we'll discuss about some additional finding of the report. The illegal wildlife trade is estimated about the transaction worth about $23 billion a year. That's quite high. Criminals are frequently misusing the legitimate wildlife trade as well as other import-export type business. On the name of import and export business, they are doing this kind of illegal trade. They are using the international laws for their advantage. The findings of the study expressed concerns over the lack of focus on the financial aspect of the crime. That means first we have to focus how they are getting money, in which way they are getting money. All the black money operations should be curtailed. The study has highlighted the growing role of online marketplaces and mobiles and social media based payments. Okay, rather than following the conventional method of payment, they are using other modes of payments. So we have to regulate them. The findings are based on inputs from almost all 50 countries across the FATF global network, students. Okay, what are the concerns? So why we have to reduce this wildlife trafficking? So because there is increasing international concern that this wildlife crime, it may lead to more zoonotic disease in future as well. We have seen how the diseases are spreading by animals. So these are the concerns. What is the way forward? So what are the solutions in future? The report saying that the financial investigation should be a key to dismantle these kind of syndicates. Once we are able to cut their financial resources, then we can successfully curtail their operations. The spread of zoonotic disease in the recent years, it given importance that the wildlife trade should be treated very strictly. Very strictly. These are the two solutions we can move forward, students. Ozone pollution, it is increasing. So report is saying there is actually two types of ozone, students. Okay, the good ozone which is present in stratosphere. The second one is regarding, we are discussing here, the atmospheric ozone, surface level ozone. What is the context? The context is saying that according to the Center for Science and Environment, CSE, according to the Center for Science and Environment, the nitrous oxide level decreased due to lockdown, particulate matter decreased due to lockdown, but the interesting feature is ozone levels increased. Ozone levels increased. This ozone is surface level ozone. So what is the problem when this ozone level increase? Actually, it is very harmful pollutant. It is very harmful pollutant. It is mostly present in the troposphere, students. Ozone is formed when pollutants emitted from different sources like cars and industrial sources. It is not directly emitted into the air. Actually, it is created by a chemical reaction between nitrous oxide as well as volatile organic compounds. When these mix together in presence of sunlight, in summer the sunlight intensity is very high. Because of this, in summertime, we observe this pollution a lot. Okay, so what is the bad effect? It's shown very effect badly on the people with the respiratory tract syndromes. So we discussed bad ozone, good ozone. Good ozone present in stratosphere. It acts as a protective layer that protects us from the UV radiation. Next one, in space will be space industry regulator. This is about recent cabinet decision. Recently cabinet announced the setting up of Indian space regulator. Indian space regulator. Okay. So the ISRO is saying that the Indian Space Promotion and Authorization Center, that is in space, it is going to regulate the private players who are going to be invited into the space operations. What would be the function of this in space? What would be the function of this in space? First you have to know in space. As I told you, in space is Indian Space Promotion and Authorization Center. The main objective is promoting private partnership in space operations. That means private players, they can take up in manufacturing of rockets as well as manufacturing of satellites. By that way, ISRO can more concentrate on research areas. So in space will have its own directorate for technical, legal and monitoring purposes. It is a second commercial organization under the Department of Space. The first one was Antrix Corporation Limited. It is fully functional autonomous body which is parallel to ISRO. At the same time, NSIL, New Space India Limited, which was launched in 2019, it will be strengthened and empowered to work with INSPACE and enable industry bodies to take on some of the initiatives of ISRO. Students, in space as well as NSIL, National Space India Limited, they work tandemly and they cooperate with each other using the ISRO research for private benefit. The significance is, it provides this initiative in space, it will provide a platform for the private companies, they can expand their operations into space by using technology of R&D results of ISRO. Same like how the SpaceX utilized the knowledge of NASA. And it is expected that large number of jobs will be created as well. So in terms of quiz, which of the following countries are part of the Golden Triangle? So pick the right answer. Consider the following statement regarding the draft national education policy. Pick the right answer. And regarding the online inquiries, you can call to this number, and if you have any queries, you can ask about online. So prelims cum mains batch details. So this is about today's Hindu newspaper analysis, students. So if you feel like that this video helped to you, so you can click on the like button, and if you think it's useful to your friends, you can share, and if you are not subscribed to channel, subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching this video. See you in next video.